Alright, so I'm going to show you guys how to replace the water impeller on a Mercury. This is a 115 EFI 4-stroke. It's a 2002. I'm going to show you guys how to service the water impeller on this lower jet unit and how to take it off. Here's the water impeller I picked up. It's a Quicksilver. Got it at West Marine for about, I think, 55 or 60 bucks around there. So here's some of the tools you're going to need for this job. It's not that hard. Alright, so the first step is going to be to disconnect this shifter cable. You have one of these right here. You have a bolt and a nut back here. It's got to hold the wrench back here and a ratchet out here. Same thing right here. And this just controls which way the jet goes. Alright, now I got the shifter cable disconnected. I always like to put the nuts back where they go on both sides. Now this is free to move around. So the next step is we got to take this off right here. There's 6 nuts you got to take off. 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this whole thing comes out. And then you'll see the impeller on the inside of the jet right there. I'll show you how to take that off in a sec. Alright guys, so after you guys take out the 6 nuts right here, this whole unit slides off. I just put it on the ground right there. Make sure you put your nuts somewhere where you won't lose them. And this unit slides out right here. You'll set it in right here, like so. And there's the prop. So you're gonna need a large socket to get on there to untwist this. And then you have your shims in here. Make sure you count the shims, so when you're putting it back together, it can be shimmed correctly. And don't forget, you also might have a few shims on this side of the prop. So make sure none of them fall out and you get a good count of how it's supposed to be. Alright, so I removed that castle nut and I removed the shims. So I counted 7 shims, a little rubber piece, a little spacer, and this that holds the castle nut into place. So I'm going to set it on the ground right there so I don't lose it. And this should just slide out, as so. Careful, make sure you don't have any shims in there. I'm going to set this on the ground next to it as well. It looks like I only have 1 shim up here, so I'm going to slowly pull it out so I don't lose it. Let's see here. Alright, I'm going to set it right there just so I don't lose it. And then what you're going to do next is you got to get in here. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. You got to loosen those. I believe mine's a size 17. This holds the whole lower jet unit to the motor. Also on mine, I have a screw right here that I have to screw out, and I beat it this way with the hammer, and it pops out right here. And then the lower unit should come free. And the ones inside I believe is a 17. These 4 are for the bearings, so I don't believe you need to touch them. Alright, so one thing I did forget to mention is these 4 bolts that you're taking out. I've already unscrewed them so they're loose. They're different sizes, so make sure you remember what size goes where, because it'll save you a little bit of headache when you're putting it back together. I guess those 2 are the same. I guess it's the top 2 that are different sizes then. So you can see that's the longer one. So there's a longer one as well. So yeah, just make sure you know which size goes where so it saves you a little bit of headache. Now I'm going to lower the outboard. Just got to get this one last screw out and then this whole unit should fall out. Alright, so that's the last piece. I just beat this pin out of here. Gonna slide it out. Make sure you put it somewhere you don't lose it. So to go back up here with the bolts. And this whole unit should be free. Pop down right there. Alright, so I was able to drop the whole lower unit. So this is the water pump. This is where the impeller is located. It's 4 10mm bolts. I already got them loose. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This should just slide up. Just a sec here. Slide up and off. Set it down. Lift it up. Bam. And there's that impeller that needs to be replaced. So far, it looks like it's in pretty good condition. Get that bolt out of there. On the bottom part, it does look like there's a little bit of sand and some debris building up. You kind of see around the edge right here, it's built up. But the impeller itself looks to be in pretty good condition. See if I can kind of finagle it out of there. It's in there real tight. Oh, there we go. So it looks to be in good condition. Well, I'm still going to replace it anyways, just to be better safe than sorry. That's the inside of it right there. And that's what that looks like right there. Probably gonna have to clean all this up around it. Clean it up inside. Grease it up, and yeah. Alright, so after looking at it closer, looks like the first gasket started falling apart. That's like the back side of the other gasket right there. So it definitely did need to be changed. The gaskets are getting old. And that's what that piece right there looks like. So I am going to sand it down a little bit, get it nice and cleaned up, just clean it up, make it nice and pretty. Clean this up as well. Just make sure everything's in running order. Alright, so I sanded this part down. I used some 800 grit sandpaper, and then I used 180. It's just a lot smoother so the gasket can sit better, less chance of a leak. Just gotta clean this off next right here, and then we're gonna put the gasket on. So we have three pieces, it looks like. We have this lower one right here. Set that down. This lower one sits on right there. This metal one sits on like that. And this upper one sits on like that. And that sits on top like that with the new impeller inside. We have a few other pieces, I'll show you where they go. Alright, so the gasket, everything slid on in. I was going to put it back together, but then I noticed these bolts are a little dirty. So I'm just going to clean them out real quick and apply some marine grease. Just preventative maintenance. Small things like this make the boat last, just, I think, a little bit longer. It's good peace of mind as well. Alright, so I put all this back. That metal piece. That bottom gasket. You can see under there. That metal plate. And that upper gasket right here. I put the new impeller in. I did put a super light coat of marine grease on. I also did put some marine grease on these bolts as well, just to protect against corrosion. It's this stuff right here, multi-purpose. I picked it up in Walmart in a little 3-pack. I think it was about $6 or so. Yeah, I'm gonna put this back together and bolt it all in. Show you guys how it goes. All right, there we go. Put it all on, bolted it all in. 4 bolts, the impeller's in there. That little piece that holds the impeller is also in there. Be careful not to lose it. Now it's time to put the unit back on the boat. Same way we took it out. Alright, I got the lower unit back on. Got those 4 bolts in. It's always good practice just to put some marine grease on, just to make sure it doesn't corrode in the future. Now all that's left is for me to bang that last bolt in, and bolt that bottom piece on, or sorry, shim it all back together, bolt that bottom piece on, and call it a day.